from yourself. Please note that we have the ability that you guys have the ability to be anonymous via Q&A, but you do not via chat, just so you know that. Again, Amy and I will be monitoring any of your questions or suggestions or anything that you want to say along the way.
Fantastic. You also have the ability to raise hand and we will unmute you. That's very important for today because if you go into your participants window, you have that function because everybody does want to hear from you. And now we're going to introduce everybody. I'd love to introduce our Mod Thinkers from Mod Think. You guys are called Mod Thinkers, right? Absolutely. Yes. Good.
Mod Thinkers, the Mod Squad, whatever you prefer.
I love it. You can do a lot with Mod. So we're happy to introduce our presenters, Madeline Smith. Say hello, Madeline.
Hi.
Katie Brandt and
Hi.
Trey Robinson. No relation, but I will claim him. Maybe. If he does a really good job today, I will.
Yeah, there we go.
Madeline is a paid media specialist who helps connect clients and customers through creating effective digital strategies, which she's going to talk a little bit more about today. Katie Brandt is a junior executive, and Trey is a content architect who helps define the overarching direction of ModThink clients through creative storytelling. So we're really excited to have you all here. So take it away.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having us. And also thank you for to the chamber for sponsoring us and everything. So we're glad to be here with you guys. Madeline, if you want to go ahead and start sharing. And I know they mentioned this, but we definitely do. We like an interactive style. If we were in person, then we would probably already be asking you guys to talk, even though we haven't even gone through the first slide yet. So definitely utilize that hand raise feature or throw any questions in throughout any point in the presentation. We don't mind being interrupted. So.
Yes, can you all see the presentation okay?
Yeah, it looks great.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, let's get started.
All right, yeah, so this is a little bit about what we'll cover today. Like we talked about, we're going to be talking about social media for business, and we really want this to be interactive, so feel free to throw anything in the chat if you have any questions throughout, or raise your hand. If you go to participants, you'll see a raise hand feature, and just go ahead and click that, and we'd love to hear your voices and hear any questions that you have just throughout the presentation. So with that being said, we'd like to hear a little bit more about you. So if you would like to raise your hand and tell us a little bit about yourself or your business, what industry you're in, and then we can really tailor this presentation towards you a little bit more and hear a little bit more about you as we go forward. So feel free to go ahead and raise your hand or send anything in the chat.
Heck yeah, I see a few hand raises.
Hi there, can you all hear me okay?
Yep.
This is Christine Drake. I'm with the Alzheimer's Association Arkansas chapter, and I am a walk coordinator there. So I'm actually coming from the nonprofit industry today.
Awesome.
Thanks, Christine.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Yes,
hear from,
thank you for sharing.
Yes, absolutely. Let's hear from Natalie.
Hey guys, this is Natalie Madison. I own a cake decorating and baking supply shop. I also teach classes and am an app developer, which should launch at the end of this year. So I have, I have product and I have digital and I have class that I'm trying to figure out how to social media market all in one go.
Oh man, that's awesome. Hey, I don't mean to tell you what to do with your business, but you should make an app that has classes on how to bake cakes. I don't know. That's pretty cool.
Awesome. Let's hear from Mary. Hi, Mary. How are you today? Are you there, Mary? We've got Mary Jacobs. Let's go ahead and unmute.
If you're
trying to speak. Yeah, go ahead and unmute, Mary, and we should be able to hear you. Let's see if I can do. Well,
I'm sorry. Hi, everybody. Mary Jacobs. Try it again. I own Tony's New York Style Pizza on Dixon Street in Fayetteville.
Hi, Mary.
And I also have a Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory and an Auntie Anne's Pretzels that's also going on Dixon Street in construction right now, moving from Rogers. So I have food business and I need help. Tony's is new. We're only a year old and COVID happened, and Rocky Mountain and Auntie Anne's are moving. So yeah, I need a lot of help.
Awesome.
Awesome.
That sounds great.
I'm
I see a
big fan of
couple in the
Tony's, I'll say
chat
that.
too.
Yeah, we've got a couple in the chat as well. Uniquely You coaching. So you've got a coach helping teams use Clifton Strengths Assessment. Fantastic. And Arkansas Occupational Health Clinic. So occupational medicine. You guys have got some great diversity going on here today. Another somebody in higher ed. So you guys all are familiar with that. Quantum key power, self-healing. Oh my gosh,
Great.
this is fantastic. You guys go ahead and keep these coming. Fantastic industries going on here.
This is
Thank you
needed.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
variety.
The
awesome.
insurance that we need for SBA is not.
yes, fantastic. I love it.
Yes, thank you everyone for sending things in the chat. It's really interesting to see what kind of industries y'all come from. And it's really clear too, just from reading these and hearing y'all, that a lot of y'all can benefit from using social media for your business. So this will be great.
Yes, we're excited, and this will help us kind of tailor our presentation to you as well. Yeah.
One more, you guys, I want to throw in because this is a different one. Hot Springs tree houses. They're 2 years old, so that's something that we didn't hear already today. So that's
Yeah, that's cool.
Fantastic diversity. Thank you guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And gals.
Yes. Next, we'd love to hear kind of like what you're wanting to get out of today. I know that there are probably plenty of problems that you have that you want to solve with marketing, or different reasons why marketing is important to you, even some different ways that you've used it in the past and maybe want to view this presentation to see how you can shape it in the future. And we would just love to have these concerns in mind as we go throughout the presentation. So once again, you can raise your hand or put it in the chat, kind of what are you wanting to get out of today, or what problems are you wanting to solve?
Yeah, and I'll just reiterate to everybody, if things come up as you're going along, even if it's just kind of out of nowhere, if you think of it, throw it in the chat, and Chris and I will be monitoring that. You're also welcome to raise your hand. We love to hear from you.
Okay, so one answer in the chat, guys. A startup business, and it is international and local. And then another one, what do you, okay, that's Amy, you posted.
Yeah, that's me. We're going to ask Sharonda. We've got a couple of raised hands. Sharonda, how are you today? You'll go ahead and unmute and we'll be able to hear you. Gotcha. No. I'm going to try for Larry. How are you today? Go ahead and unmute and we should be able to hear you. There you are.
Did I do it?
You did it.
Okay. All right. Lesson one, right?
Yes.
Anyway, I'm 79 years old, but I keep learning. I have a very old company I started in 1962 in multi-level marketing while I was still in college. And we've done lots of things, but I always like to learn, and I love doing Zoom presentations and so forth, but I don't even know how to obviously unmute, but anyway, maybe I'm just talking to a lot of people and they're just looking at me.
Well, Larry, that's the first thing you've learned today. That's awesome.
Yes.
No, for the last 21 years, we've marketed legal service and identity theft solutions. So obviously I know how to steal people's identity. Everybody's a client, obviously, because they're going to lose their information or else they're going to need an attorney. And it's not a matter of if they're going to need it, it's just a matter of when. But we moved down here from Illinois in 2005 and built a house 10 miles south of Hogeye on Bug Scuffle, and that's where we sat and watched the world go by. But technology is letting me get more active for just because of how business has gone. It's been very good to me. And but I see technology, I can just sit here and I just have a lot of fun every day calling people and going, hey, here we go. And,
that's great. Thanks, Larry, for that. Somebody else also said that they would want to know how to get clients from social media platforms, which you're going to cover in Very good. Market local classes. Another one I'm trying to read and speak at the same time. And Zach wants to know, he runs a manufacturing company in Little Rock for industrial products that are mostly sold through distributors and other businesses. So some of the products go straight to the end user. He needs to know, have a presence on social media so he can access more customers and give them more options.
B2B for sure.
Mhm.
Larry, if you want to add to that, something to that a little bit later, let me know. I'm going to move on to Sharonda real quick and see if we can get her. Hey there, how are you? Oh, go ahead and unmute again. I saw you for just a second. Try one more time.
I'm
There
good.
you are.
How are you?
Good.
If I
Thank
could
you.
figure out how to unmute. I'm an independent damsel pro, so I sell personal safety and safety products like stun guns, socket slims, different things like that. And so currently I just use Facebook. And so I'm interested to know more about how to integrate Instagram and other social media platforms to market and reach a larger audience, and to how to connect those so that I'm not posting to each different platform, where I can do it synchronously. And so interested in that, and then any other resources you all have to share. So I really appreciate you hosting this today. Thank you.
That's an awesome question, actually. And make sure when we get to social media, we don't brush over that, because that is like, there are some cool tools you can use that'll help with that. So
That's
Okay.
great. And last but not least, we have Natalie, who I think is going to reiterate a lot of the things that a lot of other people feel right now, which is just overwhelmed when it comes to social media and wanting a bullet checklist of what to do. So I think that's a great jumping off point for all of you.
yeah, well, that's some awesome input. So thank you everyone for kind of bringing some of that up, and hopefully we'll cover some of that. And if not, if we get going along and you have kind of a more very specific question, kind of like that, how to share from multiple different social medias just from a centralized place, feel free to just ask us again. But you can go ahead and go to the next slide now. So kind of to start off, because essentially none of this, like, we wouldn't have businesses if we didn't have our clients or our audience, whatever it is for you that matters. And I think one thing that's important with that, and a lot of times something we find whenever we first engage with someone that we're either taking on as a new client or doing like a discovery project for, is that we ask them, we say like, who's your ideal customer? And they kind of give a very broad answer. Like they say, maybe 25 to 30-year-old males who are interested in sports or something, that's me generalizing it a little bit, but it's kind of like a very not specific thing. And this is Seth Godin. He's kind of known as like one of the, like a pretty big time thought leader in marketing, and particularly in like thought leadership marketing, which is I think to some of the industries you guys talked about, I think you're going to see that thought leadership marketing is something that a lot of you could benefit from, which is basically having an expert who's like has a very deep expertise in your thing and promoting their knowledge almost as like a way of marketing yourself. But he says basically everyone is not your client. So you can't go after literally everyone. Probably like maybe one person might love your product. But that's the good thing, is that if one single person loves your product and will stand for it and talk to others, that means there's millions of people out there who will like your product a lot. So you need to identify that one person who you think, this is the one person I know of that's going to love my product. And then there's a blog link there where you can read a little bit more like on that specific topic, which is the minimal viable audience topic. And if you'll go to the next slide, Madeline.
Well,
this is kind of a worksheet that we wanted to include for you guys that breaks down how to kind of develop that we call it a buyer persona, but it's essentially that one person. So you can build out this worksheet and answer some of these questions, and that will help you kind of lock in that one person that's like, this is the person that will love my product. So this can get, it's obviously a fictitious character that you're building out for who would love your product, but it can get like, if you know a person, like say, say I build a company and I'm inspired because of a problem I know my mom has. And I'm like, I want to solve that problem for her. And then I do that and she loves it. So she's like, oh yeah, this is the greatest thing ever. I could use my mom as my persona. So I could say like, oh, she's 52. She makes X amount of dollars. She does not have social media at all, but she like is aware of it, you know, like very specific details about her. So that, and then like kids. So she has 3 kids. One of them does social media webinars. And so some very specific details like that to build her out specifically. I see some chats coming in. I'm going to take a peek. But so we wanted to kind of outline that first, and we're not going to go into super detail, but ultimately a lot of the stuff you do should derive from your personas, because if you're just making like post or throwing out random things on your social media or your blog, anything like that, and it has like no actual value that can be added to your audience, then it's kind of wasted effort, because ultimately you should want to be like adding value to that person that you're trying to target the most. So a lot of stuff we do, we always refer back to our personas for almost everything we do. So that's a quick breakdown on that.
So yes, sorry, I was muted. From those personas, you're going to want to then develop your digital hub that is going to help them the most. Because I know we have quite a diverse audience here. And so the digital hub that might be perfect for one business will not be effective for another. And so ultimately, this all kind of goes back to your website that you feed in all of these other channels to. And so we want to educate you on all of the different platforms that should be a part of your digital hubs so that you can develop it for yourselves. So,
and I know some of you mentioned that overwhelm feeling. So don't let that like imagery overwhelm you, that it's like, oh, I need this digital hub and stuff. We're going to focus on social media, and essentially like, you don't have to have every piece of your digital hub going at once. That's kind of one thing we'll talk about, is like, do the things that are effective for you and leave the others alone. So.
Right. So yeah, today we're going to focus on social media primarily, and kind of the main couple of platforms that we've seen as most effective for marketers, so that you can kind of hear and see which one will be best for you, or which few. So first we'll talk about Facebook. So Facebook, as we know, I mean, I'm sure we all have Facebook accounts personally, and we think it's important for most businesses to also have Facebook accounts. It's the largest social media platform there is, with like a couple billion users, I'm pretty sure, and has so many different capabilities, and they just continue to come out with more. It does have a bit older of a demographic, and what it's like, I think 60% is over the age of 35. And it definitely has more of a informative tone to inform the people that you're trying to reach. A couple capabilities that it has is, I mean, they have all different types of media. You can post videos, photos, just kind of a normal post. You can even have, different shopping things, and there's so many different things that Facebook has. You can do Facebook Live, boosting post is great. You can have your own business account that you can build out with all of the different information about your company. You can make Facebook groups, which is also really neat to connect with your audience. And they have a lot of great analytics capabilities as well. So you can see how posts are performing, maybe compare, did this video do better than the photo that I posted? Or how many people am I reaching, so that you can like set a benchmark now and say, maybe that post reached 600 people. Well, I want to hit 2,000 people with my post on a regular basis. And Facebook does a really good job of letting you know how your posts are doing. A couple best practices, kind of that bullet that you're wanting, so you can maybe take notes on this part, is post regularly. People are going to want to see what you have to say and know that you're a reliable source that is constantly getting the word out and producing helpful content. The Facebook algorithm really prioritizes using rich media, and I would say that's pretty standard amongst all of the different platforms. And what I mean by rich media is photos and videos, something that people can really interact with. I would optimize your page as much as possible. There are a lot of different pieces of information you can put on your business page, such as your hours, your services, ways that they can contact you, and so many more. And in that being said, interact with your audience. Facebook can be used for social listening a lot, and almost kind of like a customer service. If people are commenting on your posts and asking questions, you want to be being aware of what they're saying. And then utilize stories is another best practice, because that will be on the people's homepage. If they might not scroll enough to see your post, it'll come up at the top. And then lastly, I would say boosting posts is another great and easy way to expand your audience. You can also run ad campaigns, but I know that if you guys are overwhelmed and there's a lot to do, boosting posts is a really simple and easy way to say, hey, I want to reach these people. I'm going to put this much money behind it for this amount of days, and go ahead and boost the posts. It's as simple as that. So that's
one thing I would add in there too, just because I know it can be overwhelming when we say like post regularly, you know, because people are already like, well, I don't know what the heck to post in the first place. How am I supposed to do it regularly now? We always err on the side of just authenticity. So the place I would start is, you don't need some, obviously it's great if you have the resources to hire some amazing creative director and designer who can make these like super beautiful imagery and stuff. But to be honest, I think some of the best performing posts we've done for clients is whenever we take a topic that they're an expert on and let them give a very genuine, authentic like take on it. This can literally mean, so Zach, I know you mentioned you were in like the industrial thing, or I'm sorry, I'm butchering your industry, but you're like the industrial B2B realm. But this might be you literally walking around like out in a big warehouse, like showing your product and stuff with just your phone out on a selfie cam and saying like, hey guys, just wanted to show you real quick. We got tons of new inventory here. This one particular is special because, and then give kind of like a deep thought on that, which actually gives someone a little bit more insight into that. As opposed to just, I would say that doing that video, I'm partial to video. So I guess I should give my bias here. I'm a content architect, but I primarily am a video guy. So I almost always prefer things to be video. But I think whenever you use video in that way, and that authentic of a way, where it's like, you don't need some flashy editing or transitions, it allows you to connect with your audience because they can actually feel like you're talking to them. So you're telling someone who's a potential customer of yours, you're actually speaking to them and saying like, hey man, this is what's going on here. Like, this is an awesome new beam we got in. It's reinforced, you know, all that, and giving and showing your expertise about that while also highlighting your product. So that's a quick tip on like knowing the types of content is always err on the side of authentic. If you go to some cake baking conference, and you see some beautiful cakes and stuff, take a picture with them and then just post that. Like, people like seeing that stuff. It puts like a human aspect to your business.
I see a couple questions coming in that I'd like to answer. Yeah. So one is, boosting your post a paid service? Yes, it is. You can just put a set amount of money behind it for a certain amount of days, and Facebook will automatically decide how to promote that post. It'll come up as like a sponsored post on their news feed. So that can be anywhere from, I mean, I'm not sure what the lowest amount is, but you can do it, I'm sure, for like $20 or $200, just kind of however much you want to put behind that. Another question is, what do you mean using stories so they show up? I know whenever I go on the Facebook app or log onto Facebook online, the top is all of those stories that I see from my friends on Facebook or the businesses I follow. And so that just means, oh, that's the first thing I see whenever I log on to Facebook. I might only see 1 or 2 posts, but I see like 5 or 6 stories that I'm like, oh, wait, I'm reminded I want to click on that. And so that's what I mean by, I'm not really prone to scroll through Facebook a ton. And so I feel like I'm more prone to scroll through stories, but that also might just be me. And then let's see. The difference between, what, Trey, did you have something to add?
I was just going to kind of go into that. The difference between Facebook Live and just a video. A video is just like as if you were just posting a photo or a status update. So it's like you're just publishing the video, it's pre-recorded, and then there it goes. Facebook Live would actually be an opportunity, kind of like how we are right now. We're live, you can interact with us. Facebook Live is just using Facebook's platform to produce a live video. So people are going to be watching you in live time and they can interact and all of that. And then I see Susan asked, how long should a video be? This is a good question. And so I kind of have two answers to this. One, I'll say the very technical social media hacker trying to play into the algorithm answer is actually 3 minutes for Facebook. So Facebook is trying to make a push for their Facebook Watch platform, which is just another aspect of Facebook. It's the same app, all of that. But they're wanting people, almost like YouTube, they're wanting longer form content so that people will stay on Facebook longer watching all of that. So you will play into their algorithm if you post a 3-minute video. And now the other side of me that is also a user of social media, and I watch videos all the time, would say that it's sometimes hard for a business to maintain someone's attention for 3 minutes, because think about how you use Facebook, see some pictures of your niece, maybe some friends updates, then it's like, oh, now I got this business trying to get me to, fall into their little marketing trap. So sometimes it's hard to get someone to stop and watch your business for an extended amount of time. So I would say start shorter, like 30 seconds, a minute, whatever it takes to get like your point across, and like, don't drag on. You don't have to cut yourself off though. Let your thought get out there. But I would almost say early on, before you're actually ready to start diving into those very like specific, like we're trying to hit time marks so that we can do specific things with the video, just let it be kind of however long it took you to make that video. So if it takes me a minute to describe how to put this cool cake icing technique together, then post a minute video, because that's going to be the most natural way it should be. So that'll be my answer to that.
These are great questions. Thank you all. We're going to move on to Instagram, but of course, if you still have Facebook questions, let us know.
I do have one more quick Facebook question, which is about broadcasting a class to virtual participants via Facebook. I think, Trey, you mentioned a little bit about Facebook live stream, which is different than a recorded video.
Mm-hmm. Facebook Live would be the best way to do that I know of right now. I know with obviously us living in a virtual world now, everyone's trying to amp up their capabilities with hosting things like that. So I feel like that's something Facebook might get into. As of right now, the best way I would know to do it would be Facebook Live. That wouldn't give you the option to kind of restrict who can see it though. So anyone can join in, which is a positive and a negative. It's a positive in the sense of that for just general awareness, the more people that can just join in is going to keep pushing that into more feeds. So it kind of could have more reach than a set seminar where someone has to register and everything. But
I also know there's different platforms where you can stream to multiple different social media channels. One that we use sometimes with our clients is called Restream. And so you can stream to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, even LinkedIn has a live feature that they're in beta testing for. So you might not have access to it. And even more platforms you can stream all to at the same time.
Heck yeah.
All right. Instagram. So Instagram is a bit more visual content. So Facebook, you can just do your status updates, but Instagram is always attached to something visual, whether that be your story or a photo or a video, Instagram TV, Instagram Live. There are so many things that Instagram is doing now. Compared to Facebook, it's a bit younger of a user demographic. I know I mentioned there's 60% of Facebook users are above the age of 35, but for Instagram, 60% are below the age of 35. And so, yeah, there's going to be a bit younger of an audience there. It's a bit more of a casual tone as well, since people use it for a bit more of personal reasons than other social media platforms. A couple capabilities I'd like to highlight are, I think, like I mentioned, Instagram TV. So those are those longer form videos that you can post. Instagram Live. So you can go live just like on Facebook. A cool thing that you can do is after you go live, you can post it as an Instagram TV so you don't lose that content. And people, if they couldn't catch you live, you can then put it on your page. You can also do paid social with Instagram, so ads, boosting posts. You can even use Instagram's shopping feature so that you have a shoppable content. So you can literally just click on the picture and then it will take you to a platform where you can purchase. And so a couple best practices are post on stories again and really engage with your audience. Stories have the capability to do question and answer. You can do polls. And even when you're doing live stream, you can do question and answer live streams, which is really neat. And people love to be engaged with. When you connect with your audience, they're more likely to want to connect with you again and know that you are a reliable source of information on your social media channel. One really practical thing is Instagram doesn't really allow you to share links via your post, and you have to have 10,000 followers to share on your stories a link. And so one great option to share links is have a link tree in your bio. So that's a service where you can create your own link that will then take them to a website that has a list of other links. So let's say you have a post and you say on one post you want to link them to your website, another one you want to link them to an event that you're hosting, another one you want to link them to a blog. Instead of continuously changing that link in your bio, then you can have the link tree so that they always go back to it and know that they can find that there. And then lastly, again, the buy button is so important if you have products that you're selling, because people can buy it right then and there instead of having to leave the app and go to your website. So.
And then Madeline, I was going to say too, I know Sharonda had a question at the beginning about integrating platforms and posting to multiple at a time. And Instagram and Facebook, you can do this really seamlessly. If you already have a Facebook for your business, you can sign up for an Instagram account as well. And then when you go to post on Instagram, there'll be a little button that you just click that says post to Facebook. And then when you post to Instagram, it posts to your Facebook account as well. And so that's just a really simple tip to get that posted to both platforms in just one click.
I would also throw in another, just a small content tip for Instagram. If you kind of have this capability, or I know it's hard sometimes because we're all fighting for resources, whether it be time, money, whatever it is Instagram allows you to, it's kind of more of an aesthetic platform. So with a business page or even a personal page, there's kind of two ways people can see your stuff. They can see your post in your timeline. I guess, see your post in your timeline just as they're scrolling, watch your stories, or they can just go to your profile and see like your spread of photos at one time, which is called kind of your grid. And if you have kind of like a visual type company, so I'm gonna go back to the cake company for this, that you can build your grid specifically so that when someone sees it with all your pictures at once, it's very pretty. So like following like a set color pattern and stuff to kind of work that, like those 9 photos someone sees at once, where that almost itself is now its own piece of content. So
I have a quick question that a lot of our clients come up with, especially when it comes to video and getting in front of the video. And obviously Instagram is very visual and picture specific and video specific. So in posting in stories, one of the other kind of hurdles that people come across is how to do the longer Instagram stories that are on the back end, so that, you know, you've got the little clip, but then you want to continue watching. And that is in the feed usually, or is that also in stories? And just kind of how does that work? Instagram stories or Instagram live and the Instagram videos that are longer, but you get the little tidbit in your Instagram.
Mm-hmm. That would be like utilizing the IGTV feature to
Right.
throw some just some letters at you, I guess. But like the Instagram TV feature, where whenever you upload that, so it cuts off at a minute, is like the time for the preview is a minute. So if I make a 57-second video, it's just going to post as a normal video on my feed. It won't need to be Instagram TV. But if I post a minute and 10-second video, then that will push it over, where now you have to, when you're uploading it, it'll say like post the short form or upload as an IGTV video. So go ahead and mark upload as IGTV video, and then also mark show a preview on your profile. So that way it appears in your feed, and it also appears under your IGTV tab, which I don't know, there's like little tabs on Instagram, one of those being IGTV. But the important part is that hitting that like show preview on your profile, so that's that thing where it'll like stop and say like continue watching, and you have to click continue watching. That's how you get it to appear there. There's also some like play around with those settings next time you upload one of those, because there's kind of some cool things that I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize are there, because there's like some drop downs. But if you scroll whenever you're about to post an IGTV, there should be a thing that says advanced settings. You can actually change your cover image, or like you can trim your video and stuff, but you can change your cover image so how it appears on IGTV. And then you can also change the cover image for your profile. So when it's actually just like static on your page, you can put a really interesting little part of your video as the actual profile itself to kind of, I guess, that I would call that like a thumb stopper to get people like an interesting thing to, so that someone doesn't just keep scrolling like a maniac like a lot of us do. I know I do myself. So you got to find something cool and be like, oh, there it is, and then click that. So a couple of tips there.
I think this is probably for you as well, Trey, is a kind of understanding. So we've got somebody in charge of stories for their business, and it's a pizza place and bar, and want to know what types of questions to ask customers to engage. So what is it that we need to ask people to engage? And I don't think that this is specific to Instagram, but just in general, what are some of those tips for them?
I always say the first place to start with, not even just what questions you should be asking or even what questions you should be answering, is like kind of that better thing. That's really where people are going to get that value, when you're answering the questions, even if they don't ask it. A great place to start that, for one, is obviously crowdsource your stuff. Like, know what your audience is like already asking. Like, listen, go look on other pages. What are people saying in your competitors' comment section? You know what I mean? Do they have people who are leaving bad reviews and stuff? That stuff you can address on your page ahead of time. So you can say I'm not going to name a specific pizza place, and I don't want to, but let's say this pizza place A, you go look at their reviews, and they kind of have some like stuff where it's like, we're trying to social distance, we still want to go out, but like the tables are incredibly close. That means you should go on your story now and say like, hey guys, just wanted to show you what we're doing to help in a COVID world right now. So kind of offer that information up before it gets asked. The other way I would say is, if you have any type of customer support or customer service stuff going on where you take complaints and everything, or like you just get issues brought up, that's a great place to start with the types of things you should be creating. Let me make sure, how was it the question asking? I want to make sure I'm like answering it pretty directly. It was how to figure out the questions to ask your audience.
Yeah.
I would say, particularly with like a pizza place and bar, you get the side of being really fun stuff too. So I would say, don't be afraid to kind of pizza place, bar. My immediate thought is like, okay, there's trivia nights, that type of stuff. Do some fun stuff on your stories, ask people like, does pineapple belong on pizza? I know that might be a little cliche at this point, but that can get a conversation started, stuff like that. Ask people like what specials they want to see, what's the deal that they're looking for, what night of the week should we host our karaoke night, stuff like that. Like, don't just throw that stuff out there, because there's no penalty for asking your audience a question. The only thing is they might answer it, and also it might start a conversation, and now you got all this like this community building around these things you guys are doing on your stories. So don't be afraid to throw some of those silly stuff out, especially if you're the type of company that like it makes sense, a pizza place, bar, that makes sense, ask them. I would say go ask if pineapple belongs on pizza. That could be your first one right there. But
I also threw in the chat a resource if you're looking to design an image for your Instagram story, or even we'll get into LinkedIn, you can do banner images or anything like that. It's called Canva. And if you just click create a design, you can look at all the different options, and they'll have options for each social media, for stories or the feed. And you can just design a real simple image using that feature as well.
Katie, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. We're actually going to host an entire session on that in the first quarter of 2021. So we'll start the year off right.
Yes.
Great. Well, awesome. We are going to move on to Twitter. So Twitter is more of a microblogging platform, and that's really used to create conversation with your audience. The people who do Twitter the best are really, really engaging with people and posting a lot. And so sometimes Twitter is a harder platform to be on because you constantly want to have something to say. You want to be social listening. And what I mean by that is kind of listening to what your audience and your customers are saying, either to you or about like a topic that you are a part of. So it's very engaging. You can post really short updates and you can share links, you can have polls, and it's more conversational for sure. So if you're on Twitter, you're going to want to have a really strong brand voice, and you're going to want to be on it a lot. Because I know that if the people I follow on Twitter, I follow them because they're constantly posting. I'm probably not going to follow someone who hasn't posted in a month or something like that. And so it does take a lot of upkeep, but it's really neat to engage with people and hear what they have to say. So.
We actually have like a Q&A question. I see Joe said, oh, real quick though, what is a lot? Twitter actually is like, they want multiple posts a day. So like, I mean, 4 or 5 tweets a day coming from your platform. Personally, myself, I usually, almost every client I've became engaged with, we've like actually decided, like we've came to agreement that Twitter wasn't for them. It's just so hard to maintain. Unless you're Wendy's and you just have one person who is like, or a team even, that's all about like engaging with people on Twitter, responding to stuff. A lot of people think that it's like your Twitter is your customer support line. So they'll tweet at you, and whenever you don't respond, now they're mad. And they're like, what the heck? You guys aren't you helping me out? So Twitter can be tough in my opinion. So a lot is literally like multiple times a day, like 4 or so times a day. But Joe, I see on the Q&A thing, he said, where can I find individuals or companies that can help me with social media marketing? I can answer this pretty quick. Obviously, companies like ModThink Marketing are individuals and companies that can help you with that. We have a pretty niche, like the types of clients we take on and stuff, but there's a lot of other companies like us. Most like niches have their company to help with that. Then I would say individuals, one way to do that is actually finding freelancers. So a place like Fayetteville, for one, does have like a pretty solid like network of professionals and stuff who are freelancers and can help with stuff like this, because very creative people and everything. The other place is websites like Fiverr.com, which is Fiverr.com, and Upwork.com. That's where you can go online. You can post a job listing saying like, hey, I need this and this done. I need a social media plan built out for me, something like that. And people can kind of bid on that as freelancers or even as writers. So if you need like a long form article written, you can get freelancers to help you with that through those websites. So that's a couple good resources that might help with you if you're not ready to like fully engage with like an agency or something. So.
Yes, great. So next we'll talk about YouTube.
YouTube, yeah. YouTube is my personal favorite social media platform. It's probably the one I use the most. And I think YouTube's fun because it's kind of the social media platform that's like, people honestly don't even really realize it's a social media platform because it's so big and it has so much stuff now. It's actually the second largest search engine as well, Google being the first and then YouTube being the second. And also Google owns YouTube. So it has the same powers of indexing and like going through content very quickly to find the stuff that you're looking for. So that's what makes it such a successful search engine, primarily or almost exclusively used for video sharing content. It's easy to kind of build it into other platforms, whether that be posting a video on YouTube so that then you can embed it on your website, which knows a little bit outside of the social media strategies thing, but if you post a video natively meaning like on the platform or your website itself, then it can be really slow to load. So it's like affects your load speeds on your website, and which ultimately affects your bounce rate, how quickly people leave your website. Obviously you don't want that. So you upload to YouTube and then embed it on your website. That can speed up your overall page and your site as a whole. So that's a pretty solid tip, that if you're not doing that and you have a website with video, I would utilize that embed feature. And then the thing with YouTube is people want to be entertained or they want to be informed about a topic. And so this is where, I mean, let's say I need to change my truck's oil, you know, I'm going to go to YouTube, I'm going to say how to change my oil, you know, and then I'm going to watch some video of a guy like holding his phone, walking me through it and stuff. And that's exactly what I want from YouTube, you know? And so if you have these, if you have a business that has like an interesting topic, or maybe you're not comfortable being entertaining, like I would go back to that authentic, just explain something then, you know, just explain how to do a very specific thing. Go look and see, like, if I mean, going back to listen to your customers, if you're constantly being asked something, like if you're a mechanic and you're constantly being asked like, hey man, I know it's embarrassing, but I don't even know how to change my tire. We'll just make a video about how to change your tire and post that on your YouTube channel. And then whenever you post that, you can, because it's a Google company and it's kind of indexed the same way Google is, and it's like you need to find that search result. There's some best practices for optimizing it to appear for that. So I would say if you're posting a video about how to change a tire, don't post like just changed my tire, because no one needs to search that. If they are just changed their tire, they wouldn't be looking it up. But make the title of the video how to change a tire, or 7 easy steps to changing your tire, because people love odd numbers. There's another quick tip. Always throw in, never say like 4 or something. For some reason, odd numbers feel more authentic to an audience than even numbers, which is kind of an inauthentic thing for us to even know that, but I guess it's true. So like 3, 5, 7, those numbers perform better, particularly in like headlines. And so post those videos that answer those questions on YouTube. And then the tone, be yourself, obviously, and that's with everything you do, is be very authentic to your brand and yourself whenever you're like voicing that stuff.
So Trey, early on, we had a couple of, we've got some health industry, we've got some people-centric companies here, coaching and health. So when it comes to, if you don't have a product or a thing that you quote unquote do, how would you suggest kind of incorporating the people aspect of your, we have some photography workshops, and that's a very common challenge as well, is when you don't have a thing, when you have a process or people or something intangible that you're creating, what do you suggest in situations with clients like that?
Mm-hmm. This is whenever it can come back to that thought leadership thing I mentioned before. So highlighting your expertise. I would even say to some degree, like think about like a marketing agency, I can make a video of how to share a post on Instagram or something. So I do have that tangible thing, but ultimately it's like, how do I talk about like how to strategize content in a way that your audience wants to see it? That's kind of almost more of a philosophical thing. But if I find the way that my ideal customer would be looking for that, they might not know, my ideal customer might not know like that they need to search building a content plan that leads to conversions, but they do know like I need to get started producing blogs or something like that, So if I can answer that question for them and kind of show why I do the things I do and my own expertise on that, that's how I kind of market myself more than just my company, by showing that I am an expert in this field. I can answer your questions, and then that nurtures you along so that whenever it comes time for you to actually be like, oh, okay, now I actually have so much information about this that I realize I need an expert to do it for me, because I've gotten to that point. I've been the guy that's been helping you along that way. So now you're like, well, I want to talk to old Trey about this. So it's like for the coaching thing specifically, figure out some of those super obvious questions that you get asked a lot, and then kind of build out some stuff around those and just highlight like how you've solved this for other people. Always use past experience to like build out your videos and your content plans. So
fantastic.
All right, 9:59. I know we're already, you let old Trey on, he talks too much. That's a common theme, so sorry about that.
It's a family trait, right, Trey?
Yeah, that's right. I get it from Brent.
All right, so now we're going to talk about LinkedIn, which is really for professional networking, but you can really establish yourself as a thought leader through LinkedIn. And so I know there's millions upon millions of people who are on LinkedIn, but only a small percentage of those users actually post to LinkedIn and engage with other people's posts. And so if you can do those two things, posting and engaging, you'll really set yourself apart in the algorithm, and your business, or you as the thought leader of your business, can really show up in that algorithm more and help others a lot. And so just some simple ways to do that I was thinking of is writing articles. If you, I saw one person in the chat say that they do the Clifton Strengths Test. So you could write an article about how those strength assessments help businesses. And then maybe people will see that article and really know that they should come to you and use those strength assessments in their business. And so those are just a couple ways. Posting a video, like Trey said, just a simple video showing a manufacturing company or just your industry, anything like that, will really showcase your thought leadership of your business. Trey, did you have anything to add on LinkedIn as well?
Okay. I think I got a quick tip coming up here.
Yes.
But yeah, I want my cool quick tip alarm to come up. So this is something where if you're looking for that bulleted list type stuff, this is a thing that you can apply literally today if you have a post schedule, and it should ultimately help. It's not, I'm not saying do this hashtag strategy and then you're going to get 5 conversions, but it'll ultimately help. This is something you should be doing on your post. So very specifically, LinkedIn particularly, for hashtagging. So when you hashtag on LinkedIn, you don't want to dump a ton of hashtags. So you don't want to see like this huge thing. LinkedIn is very particular about how they let stuff appear, and they will flag it as spammy if they feel like it's like you're trying to just stuff hashtags in there. So kind of do some research on what hashtags are specifically relevant to the things you have going on. So if you're in higher ed, then obviously hashtag higher education. Say you're in supply chain specifically, then hashtag supply chain, hashtag Walton supply chain, like if you're at the Walton College of Business. But you want 3 to 5 per post. You want to hash the right tags, and you want to A/B test. So whenever you develop those 3 to 5, you want them to be into 3 categories. A broad hashtag, so this would be like higher education, something that's going to get broad reach and hits like a wide audience. Then you want a niche hashtag, which would be more like supply chain or even like procurement, like a very specific section under supply chain, so that it's hitting that deep audience that has a deeper understanding of that topic. And then a branded hashtag. So that would be like hashtag ModThink, so a combination of those is the way you want to hashtag your stuff. And I would say this still applies to other social medias. With Instagram, I would probably bump the number up a little bit from 3 to 5, like probably more like 5 on the minimum, 5 to like 7, 8-ish. So
I would say another tip for hashtags too, if you're wondering what hashtags you should include in that 3 to 5 number, you can do a search on LinkedIn and just search hashtag leadership, and you'll see that it has like 12 million followers. But then if you search hashtag maybe Clifton assessment, something like that, it might have less followers. And so if you're trying to reach a wider audience, you might want to try searching a couple different options and see which ones have the most followers, and those would be the ones you would more likely want to use.
And then a couple quick questions here. Zach said, do you recommend placing hashtags in the body of the post or just at the end? For LinkedIn specifically, obviously, if it flows naturally, you can put it in the in the body of the post itself. I would say almost maybe this is a personal preference thing. I like for LinkedIn posts to look very clean since it's like a business professional look. So generally, I would say that I have a tendency if it's casual, if it flows well, to put a branded hashtag in the body. So like, we're so happy to be presenting for hashtag ModThink marketing, because that is showing that brand stuff high. And then I put the other stuff at the end. So like hashtag digital marketing, hashtag social media, just to keep it clean. I would err on the side though of putting my hashtags at the end, just to have a very clean look throughout the body. And then how do you define a hashtag? A hashtag is when you put like the number sign and then a word. So I'll type one in the chat real quick.
I just typed them.
Yep. It's those last little things. It basically, it's like tagging your content, I would say, is the best way to do it, where the social media platform will, if someone searches like digital marketing, it's now appearing for things that are in that search. So that
Mary also has her hand raised. I'm going to go ahead, Mary, if you want to go ahead and expand on that question, or just kind of ask a little bit further. I'm going to go ahead and ask you to unmute. So if you want to ask that, please feel free to. She unraised her hand, so you must have done a great job of answering her question.
There you go.
I also sent an example in the chat of a post that we did on our ModThink LinkedIn. And so there you can see kind of what Trey was talking about with a clean LinkedIn post with the hashtags at the end. And if y'all want to even click on the hashtags within that, you can see how many followers those hashtags have and the other posts that companies or individuals are posting to those hashtags as well.
One more thing to reiterate as well is this is relevant on all the platforms, and it's relevant because people can follow hashtags. So if I'm really interested in digital marketing, so on LinkedIn I follow hashtag digital marketing, so posts that are trending or are important to digital marketing, they will appear on my feed, or I can go straight to that hashtag and look at all of the posts trending in digital marketing. And the same goes for Instagram and for Facebook and for Twitter. It just increases your visibility of your posts to people who may not follow you. And so that really helps you broaden your audience and just get your post out to even more people, and maybe present yourself in front of someone who doesn't know about your business but would potentially be a customer. So in the 3 examples that I gave, hashtag mod thinking, digital marketing, and social media strategy, that kind of puts what we're talking about into place. So hashtag mod thinking is that branded hashtag. Hashtag digital marketing is really broad, and I think it has like 1 or 2 million followers. And then hashtag social media strategy only has a couple thousand followers. And so that will get more into we have the mod thinking, people who follow just us. Digital marketing reaches a really wide audience, and social media strategy reaches people who really are just more interested in a specific piece of digital marketing.
Here's another really good question, Trey. I don't know if you're reading the same question, but this is a great one. Are they more beneficial within the post, or maybe even doubling up on the comments after the post is live?
Yeah, I would. So dumping the tags in the comments, I would steer away from, especially for LinkedIn. It will kind of get you flagged as spammy. And then the other thing is, I would also say here, like, if you try to catch all the fish, you won't catch any of them. So you said it kind of, a lot of your stuff applies to a lot of different areas of business. Well, what does this post specifically apply to the most? You know what I mean? So I know it probably does reach a lot of stuff, but kind of lock in on that, like this post, what's the intention of this post? This is to highlight our specific A thing, and that applies to Z type of business. So use that hashtag for this one. And then in your next one, use the other hashtag. So reach it that way. Don't try to, I wouldn't try to kind of get my hashtags to be like every post I want it to reach all those sectors. Let them hit those specific, like, deeper audiences for that specific post.
Mary has another quick question about hashtags, and Zach added to his question as well. Can you have a business on hashtag or just an individual? And definitely I'm hearing on LinkedIn, business hashtags are fantastic. So you want to expand on that? And then also Zach is asking about the hashtag for pointing to your company, et cetera, et cetera. You got a lot of hashtag questions. Your alert was very important.
Yeah, I know it. I'm glad I put the siren up. So can you have a business on hashtag just individual? You can hashtag anything you want. So it's not like there's technically no real like parameters around what you can hashtag, because basically anything that you throw that number sign before now becomes the hashtag. So I can put that and then put a bunch of different words. So create your company's hashtag. So if your company is Trey's Awesome Company, then I might make my hashtag Trey's Awesome Company, because it just makes sense. And then I can start putting that on my posts. It helps with just my own branding and like brand awareness. So yes, and then or you can do individual as well. I could hashtag Trey Robinson. And if I'm some hot shot, you know, that everyone knows my name at ModThink or around the world, then maybe it makes sense to use hashtag Trey Robinson, because if that has recognition, then you want to utilize that. Using an @ versus a hashtag. An @ is actually tagging that page or that company or that person. They're similar but different in the sense that like, so say Zach, you collaborate with me, you have your Global Manufacturing Inc. and I have Trey's Manufacturing Inc. and we do a collaboration thing where I send you a bunch of stuff. If you tag me now and don't hashtag me, actually tag me, for one, I can now engage with that a lot easier. And also it is giving that post the opportunity to get into my network by adding me. So it's like, you are now kind of borrowing from my own network by tagging at Trey's Manufacturing Company, because I'm going to like it, which is going to show my followers that like Trey's Manufacturing Company liked this post, which is your post with me tagged. You kind of get to steal a little bit of my brand recognition for your post now too, because they see my company name. Also on LinkedIn specifically, it doesn't leave the @ it just like has the tag with the name real nice. So it's kind of a clean look also. But when I would say for tagging people and companies, do that very naturally. So don't ever dump extra tags if it doesn't make sense. Always say like, we had a great social media strategies like seminar today presented by @ModThink Marketing. I'm excited to use this to start building better social plans here at Global Manufacturing. So I would use that.
Right. And in that post that you tag someone, they can click it and be taken straight to the profile. So that's another benefit. So let's move on to this slide.
Yeah, permission to not be on a channel. So this is what we kind of mentioned earlier. We're going to go ahead and officially authorize this for you guys. You do not have to be on every channel. To some extent, it can be more of a negative than a positive to be on a bunch of different channels. Find the channels that fit best for your company, or the ones, even if it's needing to start for you, the ones you're most comfortable with, and build those out and put a lot of effort into those and do those well. An example I would use is Brute, like the cologne company and deodorant, Brute company. Back whenever I was in school, I did a project for them where we were trying to build out a plan for their social media. And one thing Brute did that I thought was so bad, and it bummed me out to see it, because my grandpa actually used Brute. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Now that people know about Brute, but like my grandpa used it, so I can recognize it. They made their social media platforms and then abandoned them. So if you go to Brute's LinkedIn and stuff, and look in the comments on like their posts from years ago, people are still commenting stuff to this day. Like, hey, are you guys still in business? I used to love this. Like, are you guys still around? You know, because people they think they see an inactive page and they're like, oh man, Brute must have shut down. If you go to Walmart, Brute's still on the shelf. It's just their digital presence is not helping that. People think it's like they've went under or something. So that's a good example of like, don't use social media or don't use particular channels if you're not going to actually put the effort into it. So
sounds like don't start something that you can't finish.
Yeah.
Just get really good at a couple, and then if you can or want to expand later, you can. But start practicing just a few.
I also sent a link to a blog post written by another mod thinker about how to identify which social media platform you'll want to focus on for your business.
Right. So the last kind of social media channel before we move on to a little bit more content focused help is Google My Business. So this is actually one that I would say everyone really needs to be on as a business owner, because it's very easy to gain control of, and then it's really easy to get information out, because chances are if someone's looking for you, they're going to Google you, and Google My Business will be the first thing that pops up. This is kind of when you're on your desktop, that thing that pops up on the right side that gives a bunch of information. You can easily click the website or social media channels or look at pictures. That's Google My Business. So if you just capture that, you can put in photos, you can put your social media channels, you can have reviews and respond to reviews, which is really great. You can even get on the map. So if you put your address in there, then having a Google My Business will then make you show up on Google Maps. And so people can easily go to your store or find out where your headquarters is located. And you can also share information. So Google My Business is crucial. Oh, your phone number too, really anything about your business. It's like a one-stop shop that pops up right when you are Googled. So I would say that's a huge and easy win for all of you guys. And it's very easy to use and self-explanatory. So now we're gonna kind of move into content concepts and kind of the how of using these different channels.
Yeah, and I know we're a little hurting for time, especially to leave some room for questions at the end. So I'm going to kind of cover these pretty quick, but I honestly, you guys can go to our website. We have a lot of this on there. Not trying to plug it too much, but like we do have a lot of stuff on our website, and you could also reach out to us and we'll go deeper into some of this with you. So the first step is content curation using the 10-4-1 method. This is a way that you can get, it's easy to get more started with content in this way, in the sense of you don't have to be creating all of it. So basically the methodology is for every 15 posts you have on social media, 10 of your posts should be shares from external sources. So from people that are already established leaders in the industry. So this might be some big dog marketing agency or something that everyone knows, like Saatchi or McKinsey or something. And we share some of their posts to our page and add our own insight to it whenever we share it to kind of establish ourselves that way. And then 4 of your posts should be original pieces of content. So this would be us making a video or writing an article or making a graphic to explain a concept. And then 1 of those posts should be a CTA, which is a call to action. This is where we're actually asking our audience to do something. So sign up for our email list, fill out this form, contact us. It's a quick rundown. And then for content types, there's 3 very broad content types you can use. And these expand beyond just social media and also into like your website. Basically everything you do is your help, hub, and hero content. So your help content, this is going to be like your how-to videos where you're explaining a very specific content or topic and breaking it down for your audience. Your hub stuff is your just regular drumbeat stuff. This might be easy ways to do this: employee spotlights, like showing what it's like to in the office, posting stuff like that, branded things, a video series. Obviously, it says it can be about your company, just kind of that stuff that keeps that hub going. And then your hero content is going to be like your large pieces. Like this is where you could do a case study, would be like a hero piece of content. Like how did you solve someone else's problem for them, or like get a problem solved in your company? Kind of it's going to take more time, more effort, and it should have like a lot more weight to it. And then, okay, so I know I'm throwing a lot at you guys right here, but I'm just trying to go fast. I apologize. But these are content pillars, clusters, and compasses. So basically just 3 cool ways that words that start with C, because content starts with C, we want it to sound awesome. But a content pillar is going to be this is usually more like your hero piece of content. It's going to be like a longer form piece, something big that you can then take chunks out of to repurpose. So say we wrote an 1,800 word article, and that's our pillar content, and it goes in depth, like a how-to guide. There's a snowboard behind me, so I'll say like how to set up your snowboard and everything you need to know to hit the mountain. That might be my long form piece of content if I'm in the snowboard industry, and it's going to break down every topic in detail. And then I branch out and I pull that and I say, okay, just the part about picking the board for you, I turn that into a graphic and I post that on my page as just a graphic. So, and then I do that with all the different sections and repurpose them in different ways with different media types. So videos, graphics, all of that. Topic clustering is whenever you take a centralized, and this would be the same thing, like same example works when you take a centralized topic and then build out content around that. So my centralized topic is snowboarding. I would have stuff about picking your board, the best mountains to snowboard, and basically everything else that applies to that is like kind of creates a web of all of your topics around each other. And then your compass is the overall direction that your content should be going. This is almost like a guiding thing where like we want our content to always be answering a question and to have this voice. We want to use these types of colors, almost like it's not a straight up brand guide, but it's kind of close, because it's like saying like, this is what every piece of content before it's published from us should meet this criteria. And you can kind of develop a compass to lead you that direction. And then.
So I'll talk a little bit about calls to action. And so this is really what you want your audience to do. Like, what do you want these people to do when they're interacting with your content? You really have to tell them and lead them well. And so this could say, it's kind of like at the end or in the middle of like a post or a caption or a video. So you can say, hey, visit our website and sign up today, or contact us for more information. Download this piece of content. Call us today to schedule your appointment, or sign up now for our online seminar, things like that. Because you ultimately, if someone's reading your post or interacting with your content, they need to be led in the direction that you're really wanting them to go. So that's top of mind. Okay, actually, this is really interesting. What did they say for me to do? Call them. You don't want all of these people to have all this information about you and not know how to reach you or what to do next. And so implementing calls to action into all of these different pieces of content are so crucial in really converting your audience into customers or leads.
And then this is just an example, like content calendar, and to kind of show the cadence we use for a very specific project. I'm not going to just go through every single piece of it, but you guys will have the slides, obviously. So it kind of gives you an example of something to look at, to kind of just see how we space things out. You can see the different media types. So like this is just a social post. That would mean it's a picture, a video, or like a graphic, which is like very custom made graphic. And then some articles. So just kind of wanted to show what that might look like. This specifically was leading up to like an event. So like a Hall of Fame release event deal, which happened October 8th. So you can kind of see how you get some content going. And there was 1 week before that's not shown. That was just like a couple posts. You kind of build up to that thing. And then a couple posts afterwards, kind of like to wrap it up, like thanking your sponsors or to show something that happened at the event. So wanted to provide that for you guys to look at.
Yeah, having a content cadence will really help you plan out and strategically plan your content rather than saying, oh no, it's Thursday. What am I going to post today? Maybe if you already had it planned out like a week or two in advance, you're like, okay, I already made this post. I wrote the caption 2 days ago. I got the graphic yesterday and I'm ready to go today so that I don't have to scramble. And there are a lot of great resources you can do to have it visual. We use CoSchedule. There's also things like Hootsuite. What are some other things they could use to plan?
Soho Social, Buffer would be some.
I was going to say a really simple way you could do this is even in Excel or Google Sheets, is just planning out your content in a calendar view like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then lastly, we'll talk about keywords. So the kind of thing that brings a lot of this together and really helps your content be seen is keywords. So kind of what Trey was saying earlier with YouTube videos, you want to have these words and phrases in your content that people are looking for. So how to, or like the best ways to, or specific like products or words that people are going to be searching. And you can find, we have like a list of resources that you'll be able to look at that help you do keyword research. So you can type in, I think that, this word will really help reach my audience, but then you put that into SEMrush and it shows you that it only has a 500 search volume. So only 500 people are searching it per month. Maybe it will give you different ideas on this is going to reach more people. This will help you show up higher on Google and things like that. And so putting keywords that are relevant are going to really help your content and SEO value on your website. So,
well, I know that we are winding down on time, so I just want to remind everybody to please put your questions in the chat, raise your hand, any of those things that you've got going on. Also, if for whatever reason we can't see your full name, if you haven't sent your full name and or company to all panelists so that we know who you are when we have your full name, and if it's already showing, great, we will be sending you the copy of this recording and the presentation. So I know how much you all want. This is fire hose of information. So being able to absorb it later and have that contact information is really important. So just wanted to throw that in there.
So we are pretty close to done. The last slide we wanted to talk about is what gets measured gets managed. So just be sure that you're measuring the performance of your posts, the effectiveness of your strategies, so you can even like putting it in a sheet or a document so that you can look back in a month or 2 months or 3 months or a year and say, wow, our engagement has gone up so much since then, and really testing the effectiveness of all of your efforts. Because doing all of these different things, or even just pieces of this, will really help take your strategies and awareness to the next level. And so it's good to measure it and see where you've been and where you're going. So yeah, I think we can have a couple more minutes for questions. I know we're low on time, but we do have about 5 minutes. So if anyone has questions, we would love to answer.
I see Zach actually asked about what if a competitor has an established hashtag? Can you use it, have your post available to those followers? In theory, yes, but you also have to think about, if you're using a competitor's hashtag, then you're also building their brand, because people are now getting to see their brand name and stuff, even when it's attached to your stuff. So I would probably say I wouldn't do that, just because it's like someone's seeing your page, and it's not going to get into enough of their network to actually have like a substantial like benefit to you. I would say it almost would be counterintuitive enough where enough people in your already following would see it and be like, oh, what the heck is this? What's Trey's manufacturing? And now you just kind of actually raise some awareness for your competitor. So I'd steer away from that.
There's a question on keywords, a limit on keywords also. I don't know if you saw that, Trey.
Mm-hmm. Limit on keywords. Technically no, but I would say it's kind of keyword strategy is like its own thing. Like it's called SEO, or search engine optimization. You don't want to just put a million keywords in something, because then you kind of have no keywords, because you don't have any actual like you don't have real content. You just have a bunch of keywords. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it's kind of, go ahead.
I was gonna say, keywords aren't like hashtags where you can just add it to the end. Keywords are things that you embed into different paragraphs on your website or headlines, and even your posts, things like that. There's this thing called keyword stuffing that you don't want to do. You don't want to just put a bunch of keywords in there, but it's just a helpful tip of like, maybe you're not ranking on Google higher than you want to, or your ads aren't performing well or something like that. Keyword research will help refine which keywords you need to be using.
Yeah. What the heck, Larry? I made you tired? Dang, man. I thought I was energetic.
Just watch it back on like half speed and we'll all be talking normally if we're talking really fast.
We want to make sure that we have time for everybody's questions. Do you all have a slide with your contact information here at the end, or can you post it in the chat? Because we have had several inquiries about how to get in touch with you all.
Yeah, obviously our website, modthing.com, is a good resource to have. I'll also put like my email in there. It's just trey@modthing.com. So feel free to reach out to me through that. And yeah.
Fantastic. Zach has another question about to be specific, generic hashtags, not for their company. What are some more hashtag hacks that you all have for us?
Yes, so you can use the same like generic hashtags. Just because one person uses the hashtag digital marketing doesn't mean that you shouldn't. So I think that's okay. Of course, you want to expand it past just what they're doing. But that's totally fine to use the same generic hashtags as other people. In fact, it's really important that you can do your research and look at what your competitors are doing and audit what they're doing so that you can stand out. Don't do the same thing as them, because then you're just going to be a copy. You want to do something that's unique, that will really set you apart.
That's awesome. Fantastic. All right, well, as we're kind of winding down, I want to remind everybody that we do have information for you all that you can get a hold of us. So ASB TDC does provide these wonderful workshops with some of our partners like ModThink and others. So if you want to find any of that information, it is at our website, sbtdc.com, or look how fancy we are. QR code, hello. So get your phone out, take a click, and again, you will be emailed a copy of this presentation and recording, as well as a brief survey, because these help us continue to provide quality programming for you. So it will ask you what it is that you need to know. You need to know about Canva. We listened. We're bringing that to you. We have some photography workshops coming up, and we're hosting conversations with small businesses like you. So we constantly want to hear from you and what you need from us as a service. And finally, but not least, is we'd love to have you as a client. So if for any reason you want to get a hold of us, all of that contact information is there. Our services are free. We have wonderful partners like ModThink and others that we can get you in touch with, and we'd love to help you. Chris, you want to close us out?
Absolutely. I just want to remind you that our workshops, you can find a full listing of them on sbtdc.uark.edu, which again, like Amy suggested, that QR code is really easy. And sign up for our notifications. Now we're also on social media, as I know you probably follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. But until next time, we will see you then. And thank you again for all joining us today.
Yes, fantastic. Thank you, ModThinkers. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks
everyone.
for having us.